This is a 1963 Triumph T100SS. I believe it's a West Coast version of that bike. It's a fairly rare bike. This is a concourse restoration that was done in probably 2016 and 17 by Dave Nelson in Tucson, Arizona, with the help of Ed Carpenter, who did his paint work for him and so forth. Nelson was known as just a famous Triumph restorer that did concourse bikes, and they brought pretty substantial prices. In 2014 he sold at Mecum in Las Vegas, they sold a scrambler model like this. It's the high pipe model, and it brought $17,000, which was a world record for a Triumph 500 at the time. And that was sold along with some of the Wayne Hamilton bikes, the same auction, which if you follow Triumphs at all, that was pretty substantial auction and collection of really high-end bikes. So this bike, just as it was about done, Mr. Nelson passed away, and I did not get to talk to him about the bike. The man that helped him, the painter, Ed Carpenter, I did talk to him about the bike, and he did some final finish work. He said he'd put the fenders on and did some fitting and so forth. Now the condition of the bike is just amazing, better than anything that ever rolled out of a factory in England. Not to degrade the English work, they just didn't do a fit and finish like a restored bike here would match. Everything on the bike, it was taken down to the frame, blasted, powder coated, and then essentially all new parts are on the bike. And if you look at the nuts and bolts and all the chrome, and the fenders are actually aluminum. It was just done with all new parts and done to the standards of the original bike. Now, this model I don't know much about because there's not a lot written about it. It's a T100SS, and the material that can be found, they said that the British made 332 of these in 1963. I'll show you some of the detail here, but I think you've got the idea of what it looks like. It's just a beautiful bike, stunning bike. It has 38 miles on it. I've ridden it one of those miles, and it's been in my garage the rest of the time. And it starts and runs and pulls. It just like you would expect it to. It's just a wonderful riding bike. I think that this is probably a West Coast version of this bike because of the aluminum fenders and so forth, but as I say, I can't get enough details about what they were doing with these things at the time to be more specific about that. And I have all the books and read a lot about British bikes and whatnot. So in any event, this is going to go down the road. I'm getting too old. I don't want to ride anymore. And if I was going to keep something and ride it, I'm not sure it would be something like this. This is just a museum piece the way it is. And it's just great. You see here, you can see, I think that, yeah, it shows 37.1 miles, the odometer's on, or the trip's on 0.8. So everything on the bike is just terrific. Anything that they left over from the older bike is pretty much pristine. They didn't spare any time or expense on redoing it that I can find. Everything's new, from the frame, the harness, everything right on up. It just looks fantastic. I'm going to see if it'll start here. Just a second. Okay, you can see that it runs. One of the things they did mention, it has a full Boyer system in it now. It doesn't have any points and whatnot. They just didn't spare any expense on it. When they were doing the front end, they just bought brand new damper system and down tubes and put that together. They didn't try to rebuild anything there. They just got new stuff, and all the stuff is really high quality English parts. It's not any Asian made stuff and whatnot. It really is wonderful. Of course, the lights and the horn, everything works, and they used really good cables on it. It just feels wonderful to be on the bike and move. Although I've ridden it maybe a mile and a half, so you can't really. Well, maybe 2 miles. I can't say a whole lot about that. Other than it meets every expectation I would have about the bike. So, have any questions, you can, I'm going to put this on YouTube with my other bikes. You can look at stuff there that I've had, or that I have, and if you have any questions or concerns or issues, or if you have some interest in it, or if I can help you with a bike of yours, just give me a message and we'll see what transpires. Anyway, thank you and have a good day. Goodbye.